Jai Hind, Namaste, Sat Shri Akal, Salam Alaikum to everyone. It feels like an immense pleasure and I feel honored to introduce a person who is practicing lawyer since 23 years. He is social legal analyst and trainer. He is a writer on social legal and human rights and environmental issues. He got Ashoka Fellow from the Innovators of Public, Washington. और ये जो पर्सन है ये महाराष्ट्र में थ्रू आउट द महाराष्ट्र टायरलेसली वो ट्रैवल करते हैं. जो एकदम दूर दराज के लोग हैं उनको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के राइट्स के बारे में पता कराने के लिए वो ही इज ट्रैवलिंग टायरलेसली. He handles the matters related to constitution at High Court and Supreme Court as well. And he drafted 2 legislations. Those are accepted as a law in India. So, in summary, he is a person when he speaks, it becomes a news back in Maharashtra and India. So, I would like to invite Advocate Asim Sarode to talk about Nirbhay Bano and the Indian Constitution situation back in India now. Please welcome Asim Sarode.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. I am very thankful to see Gautam sir, Dr. Sangram Patil sir, Anand Musle, and my friend Pankaj Sompua and all others. To talk about democracy has become very essential nowadays in India. And on this background where people are living under threat, people are not expressing themselves properly and fearlessly, we are running a movement called Nirbhay Bano. Nirbhay Bano means be fearless and talk about your rights, talk about duties as citizens, and talk about Constitution. Constitution is a basic fundamental document introduced by Dr. Asim Ambedkar as policy to run the nation, and unfortunately this policy is not being implemented. Rather, I would say this is the foremost policy of how to run India which has not been properly implemented till date. And that is why it is very important to talk about constitutional values, constitutional morality, and the intent of the Constitution. The intent of the Constitution says something which is very inclusive, which is participatory, because we run a democracy which is represented by representatives elected by the citizens and voters. So whether the representatives are behaving like representatives or they are taking ownership in their own hands without having any authority, that is the main issue of concern. Democracy, constitutional values, and today's India is a definite topic on which all citizens, all concerns needs to be expressed. Whoever loves nation, whoever loves India, they should talk and analyze about today's situation. It is not about talking against someone. It is not about talking against some prime minister or home minister or some minister in the Indian government. It is about whether they are following the constitutional mandate. If they are not talking about the constitutional mandate and not taking care of the constitution, then definitely they are behaving something which was not expected by Dr. Ambedkar, which is not expected in a democratic situation. And that is why Nirbhay Bano has become a symbolic movement of common people in Maharashtra. We had some 29 meetings everywhere in different districts in Maharashtra, and people are still continuously inviting us to talk with them, to deliver some lectures so that there shall be deliberations about constitutional values and intent. Generally, people then ask us why you are talking about politics if you are not a politician. You enter into politics and then talk about politics. So we need to understand constitution here again. Constitution says that we all are citizens of India. If we are citizen of India, then we must understand that citizenship itself is a political concept. And if we are uh, binding by the constitution and framework of the constitution, then everyone is a political person. Our personality, our existence is political, and that's why common people are required to talk about politics. We even say that forget if you are a doctor, forget if you are an advocate, forget if you are into legal field, into engineering, into software field, but till 2024, you need to be a politician or person thinking like a politician. Because without considering whom to vote, if we vote, then it will be disastrous in the 2024 elections. And that is why we are creating this awareness among the citizens and creating awareness on voting, creating awareness about voting process, creating awareness about citizenship, creating awareness about how to be a good civilian. So these are all connected with constitution, and it is actually mandatory duty of the election commission to train the voters how to think about voting, how to consider whom to vote. But these all organizations are not working at all, and that's why we have taken the reins in our hands to train citizens as voters. Good governance and constitution is closely connected. So if we are expecting good governance in accordance with the constitution, and if it is not there, then definitely it becomes our duty as citizens to talk about it. Now people in India, they are not expecting best governance. Good governance is a least expectation. But if good governance is not there, even then, people are expecting that there should not be bad governance. Bad governance is a sad situation. And that is why again we need to describe with ourselves what is the concept of liberty and freedom. Because freedom is under threat, journalists are being suppressed, they are not given an opportunity to talk. We many times say that let our Prime Minister give a public interview to all the journalists and answer them. In all the countries throughout the world, the person who is holding charge as Prime Minister, as President, they are appearing before the media. They are freely expressing their views. Journalists and media persons are allowed to ask questions in their mind, which represent the worries and sorrows of people. Then why our Prime Minister is not allowing the journalist to ask him questions? Why he is not facing a single press conference till he got elected? These are the issues, and there we need to be fearless to take some objections, because Dr. Ambedkar said that raising objections and analyzing about characteristics of every individual who is working in the political arena, it is again our right. So Nirbhay Bano is a movement by the citizens. It is not run by any individual, it is not run by any organization. We are requesting people to collect some amount of money and spend it on the program on their own. We don't want anything, and people are very accountably doing all these things. And that is why when I talk about fearlessness, it is very important to understand that जो डर है वो नहीं होना चाहिए. Rahul Gandhi and many of the leaders in India, they are saying डरो मत. work from home. India had already gone through a situation like this during the emergency period of Indira Gandhi when she was Prime Minister. And many democratic people that time opposed the idea of imposing emergency without any consultation and without any necessity. And Indira Gandhi then realized her mistake and she said sorry to the nation. So we as citizens expect some sorry from the governing authorities or leaders who are leading the nation at present. If they have made some mistake, they should say sorry. India as a country, which is follower of Buddhism, Jainism and Hinduism. I am talking about Hinduism, not talking about Hindutva. Being Hindu and Hindutva is completely different. Then Muslim in the Indian nation, they all know forgiveness. They will forgive, definitely. But then plain heart से कोई माफी मांगे तो ही लोग माफ करेंगे और माफी मांगने के लिए बहुत बड़ा दिल चाहिए और इसलिए हम बोलते हैं कि निर्भय बनो और जो जनता के प्रति आपकी गलतियां हुई है उसको आपने कबूल करना चाहिए. G20 conference was organized in India recently, and the reflection can be seen in 2-3 terms. That before this also there were 100 nations gathered together and G20 was organized. But people were never caged during the G20 conference previously. This time the poor, the needy, the economically backward, they were caged behind some curtains. They were not allowed to come on the street. Then the other reflection was the stray dogs. Stray dogs in Delhi, they were they got collected by the government and they were caged and taken to some remote place from Delhi only because G20 was there. So such kind of human rights violation and animal rights violation, how we can just cover it up under the name of G20? Because G20 never expected such kind of behavior from any governing authority. Then there are fundamentalists who are roaming around very freely. Like I will give example in Maharashtra, one person, Mr. Bhide, and his followers. They had a march on 15th of August, taking all saffron colored big flags in their hands. And they had a big procession. In India, we follow the tricolor, having a blue chakra in between, which is called as Tiranga, that is our national flag. So how you can devote to any other flag, compromising with the national flag? And these Bhide followers, they had a procession in Sangli district, main city, and when journalists interviewed them, they said how you can have a rally with saffron or bhagwa color flag in your hands when it is the 15th of August, Independence Day. You should be with the tricolors flag, Tiranga flag, national flag. So the followers of Sambhaji Bhide said that in our hands we are having saffron flag, but in our hearts we are having Tiranga, that is national flag of India. So now consider a situation like this happening and being done by Muslim community. If a Muslim community is having procession with green color flag on 15th August, Independence Day of India, and same journalist will go to them and ask how you can do this on Independence Day. And consider that the Muslim community or the mob of Muslim community will answer that तिरंगा तो हमारे दिल में है, हाथ में सिर्फ हरा झंडा है. Whether it is acceptable? Definitely not. It is an offense. It could have created riot. But see the law implementing authority, law and order situation was created by a fundamentalist Hindutvawadi people in Sangli, but police still have not registered the offence. So if law is being implemented with such biases, then there is requirement of common citizen to talk fearlessly and say this is wrong. Whatever you are doing is wrong. This is not good policing. This is bad governance if it comes to the police administration. And police administration acting on the say and directions given to them by some deputy chief minister, then it is more serious. So there is kind of propaganda, there is algorithm being created, there is perception being created which is on falsification. Election Commission, CBI, CID, ED, all have been taken under control by the present government regime, and that is where we need to talk fearlessly and say no to such process of taking the system in their hand. All independence is being destroyed of the governing bodies and governing authorities, and I will dare to say that some of the judges, unfortunately, in the High Court and Supreme Court, they are also being taken by the government under pressure. And so they are destroying the judicial system as well. I really request the Indians residing in London, the Indians who are open-hearted and open-minded, Indians who are in London and follow the Constitution and believe in Constitution, to say no to such kind of governance and talk fearlessly about everything which is happening in bad sense. We are not against any individual as such. So to say directly, we Nirbhay Bano Andolan is definitely not against Narendra Modi or against Amit Shah or against Bhajap, but it is against tendency which disregards Constitution, which disregards due process of law. So Nirbhay Bano is against all such activities which are against the idea of India. Idea of India is about inclusiveness, about respect for each other, giving fearless spaces to everyone to live and lead their lives. And for this, Nirbhay Bano is working tirelessly with people, and this is a people's movement. And I assure you that in 2024 the political situation will be changed completely. Let other political party come, let any other political leader come, and we will keep intact our right to analyze the behavior and attitude of the next government as well. So India really require some citizens who just stick to Constitution, who are not taking any flags of political parties in their hands, but who believe that Constitution is the important, which should be cherished for long, and definitely not the destructive politicians' ambitions. So this good governance is very important. ना खाने दूंगा, ना खाऊंगा, ना खाने दूंगा. There are like many such statements made by the Prime Minister. But we are witnessing huge corruptions and economical mismanagement being happened and conducted, initiated, supported by the present government. And separation of media is one thing, but if it is freedom of speech and expression, that is under threat. Many people in various sectors, including Bollywood sector, they are under pressure. They don't want to speak truth. They are not allowed to speak truth. And the same thing happened during the regime of Hitler in Germany. So we don't want to propagate, support such tendencies which are destructive, and that's why this Nirbhay Bano is a people's movement. I request you all to support this movement, and with support from all individuals who believe in democracy and democratic values, we can change the situation in India. I'm talking about system, I'm talking about democratic values and due process of law, which can be maintained in India with participation from all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me here.